Ask and it is given. Wait, do I believe that? Keep watching as we go over the art of allowing and how you get the most done when you do nothing. Bonjour, welcome to La Clinique Molière, where we increase awareness and improve the quality of living. I'm Rachel. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I'm also a certified nurse midwife, and on this channel, we talk about mindful living, self-development, and women's health. Let's get to it. The art of allowing is one of the most challenging for a lot of people, and I finally mastered it. And I want to share my practical tips on how I allow all of good things, my goals, my desires to come to me effortlessly. I would have to say that I get the most done when I go to stillness and when I allow things to flow downstream and flow easily to me. So that is the secret of life, to getting everything you want. Love, money, you name it. Success is the resistance. You have to decrease the resistance. According to Florence Shin, nothing can resist something that has low resistance. So that means everything will come to you naturally and easily if you allow. How do you allow everything to flow naturally to you with the least resistance and flow downstream? Well, I would say the first step is to knowing who you are. Okay, you have to know who you are. The next step is deciding, but let's talk about knowing who you are first. So again, bringing home that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, or that we're one with God, our creator, and that I and the Father are one, and that the kingdom of God is within you. So we'll just keep saying those things until you get it. So recognizing who you are, who you really are, your authentic self. And I think that's the first step to allowing things to flow easily and naturally to you. Knowing that God, since we're connected to Him, and knowing that He's expansive and, He's creating and ever expanding, and that we're a part of that expansion, right? So, as abundant as the universe is, so there's no true meaning of lack or limitations. Those are just our limited beliefs that we hold ourselves to. So recognizing who you are through God, or God through you. Remember, we're all connected. Knowing how expansive He is and expansive the universe is. So realizing that there's a false belief of limitation and lack that we bought as well is another lie we bought. The first one is that we're separate from God, and the second one is that there's limitations and there's a lack of resources, and that we have to compete and there's a lack of abundance. And so that is another lie we bought. And we're still holding on to it. So recognizing who you are through God, or God through you, then deciding what it is that you want. So you have to decide. Okay, that's your first step, is, making that decision of what you want, or you want to be, do, or have more. Now, I love Reverend Ike for this. Definitely one of my go-tos when I want to bring this home. So definitely check him out. But you have to decide. Okay, we can't decide for you, and you can't just say, oh, you chatted with some friends about it. You have to decide the outcome that you want. So you have to decide what it is. Okay, so you can make that decision. You can write it down. You could say it out loud. You could put it on your vision board. There's no vision, the people perish. And you can affirm it daily too. So you could speak out loud, what I am, okay, and calling those things that are not as though they were. After you decide, the biggest setback that most of us take is we try to figure out the how of our desire. How is it going to get executed? The ego mind is so limited. It wants to know how we're going to get it done. It wants to know, well, what about that risk we're going to take? How much is it going to cost us? Or I can't quit my job because of the security with the kids. I can't, who's going to take care of the kids? Who's going to watch them while I take on this venture? So many questions. Okay, so remember, if there's a lot of questions and doubt and limitations, you bet your bottom dollar that's the ego talking. So you'll be able to decipher which self is talking. Okay, that's how you should grow, and you decipher what voices am I hearing. And if there is lots of questions or a lot of questions on limitations and lack, you can rest assured that's your ego. So the biggest setback again is the ego wants to know the how, and that's the biggest way to take a couple steps away from what you're desiring, because that's God's job. Okay, universe, expansive, remember, right? And what about his ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts. So the way he would execute one of your goals, or the way he would execute what you're requesting, is past your finding out. It's past your knowing. It's past what you could even fathom. So that's why you have to relinquish the control, because you can't even fathom the execution. So give it up, let it go. That's the art of allowing, is you decide, you put it out there, okay? And then you forget about it. I always say, set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. That's my thing. You can adopt it. Feel free to have it. Okay, it's yours now. We can share. So if I request something, or if I have a goal or desire, I write it down. I decide. Okay, I know who I am already, but I decided. Now I've decided I want this. Tell me what works. Okay, take notes. I decide what I want. I write it down. I want to see it. I may cut it out, put it on my vision board. I may write it down, because I'm affirming, right? I'm calling things that are not as though they were. So I may write it down in the present tense. So I am such and such, whatever you already have it. Okay, so you're writing down, you're affirming faith, the unseen seen. So you're affirming it's already done. And then you set it and forget it. Okay, so I'm no longer looking at the lab results or worried about when the next follow-up diagnostic test is going to be, or the x-rays. I will get there, but I'm not dwelling on when the next visit is, or I'm not dwelling on when's the next test, or so I'm preparing for it as though it's already done. So, or I'm not waiting on the call from the job offer. The biggest setback and the hardest thing to do is to relinquish that control for a lot of people. And that's the art of allowing, and the art of going downstream is you set it and forget it. So you are no longer thinking about the how. So that, can you be still during the wait? That's like my biggest thing is, remember the stillness we talked about earlier, is that can be still and know that I'm God. And I like to caps the know, because you know that I am God. And I say it like my no, like my no voice. Be still and know that I am God. So that stillness, I always say, can you be still during the wait? And can you be still while you're waiting for the job offer, while you're waiting for the lab results to come back? Can you be still while you're waiting for the, etc., the verdict on whatever, the court order, I don't know, whatever it is. But that stillness is key. And that scripture also reminds us that you are supposed to be still. And that's when you do nothing. And what? That's stillness, right? Do nothing and you get more. Do nothing and you get more. So decrease the anxiety, decrease the worry, decrease the how is it going to get done, and do nothing. Okay, do the opposite. Go downstream. Gratitude, love, joy. Writing down your affirmations. Now, the last step that most people leave out when they're talking about the art of allowing, and check out Abraham Hicks. She says it phenomenally every single time, and it's always a new hit. Every time you listen to it, or a different one every time you listen. But the last step I would say is that taking that first step, because you're like, okay, well, you're telling me not to do anything, but you're telling me to do something. Well, the first step is going to be whatever's in your control. So, right, you're not creating a way. You're not creating the how. You're doing the how that's in your control. That's the last step. Okay, first you realize who you are, and then you decide, and then you allow. You let go, you let God. That's what that really means. Then the last step is you take that first step that's in your control. So the last step of doing what's in your control may be putting in the application for school, even though you don't know how tuition's going to get paid. You did you did submit the application because you could afford the application, or you could fill out an application. Or you may not know if the job's gonna give you an offer, but you applied, right? Or whatever's in your control. So you're taking that one step that's in your control, and then the rest you allow God to take care of. The how is tuition gonna get paid? The who's gonna watch the kids while you do it? Who's gonna pay the bills if you quit the job and follow your passion or what you're being led to do? Who's gonna love you if you leave your husband? Okay, so the how is not your concern. Taking the first step that's in your control is your only job. And then everything else we talked about. So this is one of my approaches to the art of allowing, and I have literally gotten everything that I've ever written down or ever thought of and decided that I wanted, and how I work with God to allow him to be the expansive, God and presence that he is, and allow him to fancy me and miraculous events on how he executes, because I can't even fathom. It's higher than our ways. So I like to just sit back and watch the miraculous events, if you ask me. So that's my thing. That's how I accomplish everything I've ever written down and all of my goals. I wanted to share that with you guys. Hopefully it helps someone. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if something resonated with you. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification so that you don't miss another video. Thank you so much for watching again. I'll see you on the next one.